What is the most common mistake you see test takers make in each vehicle? And pertaining to the ProMaster and the LLV. How would you say that someone can navigate that if they're new to driving the LOV and don't necessarily know the stipulations of driving on the right side of the road? What about parallel parking? Can they retake it? And if so, what are the stipulations behind the retest? Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jordan B, and today we're going to be talking about how to pass your USPS driving test. And what better way to do that than to get real insight from a real USPS driving instructor. And I'm here today with Miss Cynthia. How you doing today, Miss Cynthia?
I'm well, Jordan. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I'm so excited about this. So can you tell us a little bit about your postal background and just insight into your expertise with the post office?
During my tenure there, I still am a city letter carrier. I do have a route there. I've been an OJI, which is on-site instructor. I'm a shop steward in my station. And I am currently on detail now as a driving safety instructor. And yes, so that's where I met Jordan in that capacity.
Form is, what is the most common mistake you see test takers make in each vehicle? And pertaining to the ProMaster and the LLV.
Unfortunately, the driver's personal habits tend to bleed into their experience during their practice time with the postal vehicles. We tell each driver, become comfortable using your mirrors. Your mirrors will make or break you. On the LLV, it's a little difficult because there are 7 mirrors. There are 6 up front, there's 4 on the side, 2 in the front, and then 1 in the back. For a lot of new employees, it's difficult getting comfortable using your mirrors. The reason we tell you guys to get comfortable and to use your mirrors because it's all about your clearance. Another issue we have, especially when we take new employees on their street drive, stay in your lane, okay? The yellow line on your left, white line, the curb lane on your right. Use your side mirrors to guide you, and that is the biggest obstacle for me. A lot of times that is the deal breaker for me. If you're struggling to control your truck from drifting into the left lane of the cars next to you or potentially into oncoming traffic, that's a deal breaker for me. And it's, just take your time. I don't think it's that difficult, but I do know a lot of people come in nervous. And so that's why I say it's really not a test. It's an opportunity for you to practice driving the postal truck before you go to your station.
Definitely. And I know you said that it's, a lot of people come in super nervous and things like that. What is the class size? And are people driving in front of their peers when they come to take the driver training, or how does that work?
Unfortunately, as a driver safety instructor, the class size is dictated to us by however many applicants learning and development will accept. So class sizes range from 20, I think we've topped out at maybe 40. But once you come for your actual driver training, it's one instructor per student. And so similar to carrying mail, there's a very small amount of time in the class, which basically you're just filling out paperwork. Everything else is a hand-on experience. So it's just you and your instructor for the rest of the time. So you're all on the course at the same time, but you're in your vehicle, the other students are in their vehicle navigating the course.
What about the LLV? Because I know that the LLV, you drive on the right side. How would you say that someone can navigate that if they're new to driving the LLV and don't necessarily know the stipulations of driving on the right side of the road?
In my experience, driving the LLV is very similar to driving your normal vehicle. Because most of them are 30 plus years old, if you're a newer driver, you may not be used to starting the ignition. And that's a baseline question that I do ask now, because so many modern vehicles You have a push button ignition. Your gear shift is in different locations. So sometimes that's an obstacle. I feel within the first hour, decide that the point that you're driving on the right hand side kind of disappears. You become accustomed to it. You start to focus on just parking and some of the safety protocols that we have given you guys. But at the end of the day, it's still driving. You know, you put your key in the ignition to start it. You put the vehicle in drive to go forward. You put it in reverse to back up. You should be looking at your mirrors. There are other few safety protocols, but you get about 6 hours to practice to commit those protocols. And I call it, hopefully by the end of the day, you will have committed that it will become muscle memory. Safety protocols we give you for parking, for backing up, you do it every time you park. Hopefully by the time you finish with us, it'll be muscle memory. I don't overthink the right hand drive. It's not that difficult. It really isn't. It's not that difficult.
Yes, I've had that experience as well. And as far as the parking, because you mentioned parking earlier, what about parallel parking? Like, how does that work? Is that a part of the exam? Like, do applicants have to parallel park both vehicles in order to pass the exam? Or how does that work as far as that being a portion of the training?
Yes, thank you, because I was just thank you for consciously stop saying exam and test. You know, because no, it's not a test. We show you how to operate the vehicle. We show you how to do your pre-trip inspection. Basically, the course is set up: uphill parking, downhill parking, straight back parking, like what you would do and when you go grocery shopping at an apartment complex, or at your station. We show you how, we give you practice doing it for rural carriers and some city carriers that have mounted delivery. So basically, all you do on the course is park. You drive from one station to the next, and you do parallel parking or you do straight back parking. So yes, parking is a very big portion of your day. But we're not looking for perfection. If you struggle to park at 8 o'clock in the morning, hopefully by 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you've made some improvement. That's all we're looking for. Okay?
Yes. And another viewer wanted to know, I know this is pertaining to the vehicles themselves. Is the 2-ton initially a part of the first training, or is that something that you come back to certify for?
Yes, the 2-ton is not a part of the standard training. The standard training consists of the LLV, which we call the entry-level vehicle. You have to pass the LLV to move forward. Also, we are training. So when you leave us, you're certified in the LLV, the Mercedes Metris, which both of those are right-hand drive vehicles, and then the ProMaster. If your station wants you to have 2-ton training, then they will have to send you back.
So they send you back to get that additional certification. Yes. Okay. Do any of the vehicles require a stick shift?
No
stick shifts.
No manual transmission.
Okay. Even though the truck, the LOV is super old, no stick shifts. So if someone fails the driver's test, can they retake it? And if so, what are the stipulations behind the retest?
Unfortunately, a failure of the driver test, basically, if you fail to qualify, yes, that's the term. That's the terminology that we use. If you fail to qualify, you have to reapply to the Postal Service. So you get one opportunity to come in, and qualify on the LLV, Metris, and the ProMaster. But that sounds harsh, but we have a very high percentage of successful carriers. I think maybe, I'm going to say 1% of the people that come through do not qualify. So
Wow.
again, don't overthink it. Don't stress yourself out. It's very doable. Okay?
Yes, it's very doable. And what about if there's inclement weather, and they're supposed to come into for their typical training, and things like that? A lot of viewers would like to know where the point of communication would come from, or who to look to get that insight as far as rescheduling a driver's test, or like what are the stipulations behind a driver's training being rescheduled or just pushed back to a different day.
So normally, the way the procedure goes, you go to orientation first, and then you will have a web-based training, which is facilitated by one of the driver safety instructors. At that time, they will schedule you for your driver training, your academy, your shadow day, and some other things. They also will give you phone numbers to call in the event of an emergency on your part, or you just need to have questions that you need to contact somebody from driver safety. Take those numbers down. Barring a blizzard, you're driving when you are scheduled. We're anticipating that you're going to be there. As letter carriers, we deliver in inclement weather, and so we still expect you guys to be present when you're scheduled for driving. But again, take the number down, call on the day of. I always tell people, rule of thumb, even at your stations, call an hour before. If you're scheduled to be in your class at 7 o'clock, don't call at 6:45 to find out, are we still having class? Call at 6 o'clock, okay? Is class still on? It's snowing where I am, a hurricane's coming through. So, call an hour before to find out. Because 9 times out of 10, we're still anticipating you coming. Okay?
Yes. And what about, how can test takers best prepare for the driver's test? Because I get a lot of questions about what can I do in advance to really prepare, and they're super nervous. So what's any advice about just preparation? Is there anything that they can practice upon before they get there to help? And I know you said you get 6 hours to practice while you're there, but is there anything additional that you would recommend that they do while they're at home, or having some additional time to focus on the driver training?
Oh, definitely. Now, what I would tell your viewers, when you go into the grocery store, if you go into the mall, when you park, back into the space. That's the postal policy. We always want you to back into the space, so when it's time for you to leave, you just drive out, because it's easier to drive forward than it is to look behind you to make sure that it's clear. Also, if you have an opportunity to practice your parallel parking, we sort of have a technique that we demonstrate to everybody, and it's kind of foolproof, but a little practice wouldn't hurt. Definitely, again, when you're just going about your normal day, you're at the 7-Eleven, back into the space. Try to stay in the lines, okay? When you go to the carryout, back into the space. You'll be surprised how it will help you when you come for your driver training.
Yes, definitely. And I know I just wanted to touch on this briefly, but you spoke on the student or the orientation for the coming days before the driving exam. Is there driving training? What exactly is entailed in the orientation? What can they expect from at least the first day of orientation? How does that process go, and how what can they look forward to doing when they get to the facility that they're reporting to?
The orientation now, at least again in the Maryland district, but I do think it's a national orientation. It's virtual, and so you will still report to your facility, a centralized facility, and it's a classroom, but orientation is done virtually. And that's pretty much just, a welcome to the Postal Service, because in the orientation, there's letter carriers, there are clerks. It's just any new employee. There might be truck drivers in there, mechanics. Any new employee goes through the same orientation. They don't start to segregate you until after the orientation. Carriers come for driver training. The clerks go to their specialized training. So, yes.
And so I wanted to touch a little bit more on just general questions that I also had when I first started and was going to take my driver's test. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. But please, before we start, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.